So now it is that your girl is recording. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into this next damn reaction, shall we? Now, Luis, this shout outs to you. We have not reacted to you in a while. Why hip hop doesn't respect J. Cole anymore? So without further ado, y'all, let's get into this next video, y'all. Let's do it.
After a legendary feature run that led Complex to name him as the best rapper of last year, despite the fact that he didn't even release a single project. While he hadn't dropped it yet, the long-anticipated album The Fall Off was expected to come out sometime this year, and everyone was ecstatic to see what Cole had in store. But now the world has turned on its head, and not only have some of hip-hop's most influential voices turned against him, but even parts of his own fanbase have as well. In just a matter of months, The Fall Off has gone from needed to keep it for a lot of users, while Cole himself is being accused of ruining his entire legacy piece by piece, with one terrible miscalculation after another. It's your boy Luesta, and today we're looking at how J. Cole lost his respect with a culture that once idolized him. But to explain how the perception of Cole has shifted so drastically to the point that it looks like his career might have taken critical damage, we need to first remind ourselves of how we were discussing this particular MC before all of this happened. Rapping since a young age under names like The Therapist and Blaza, J. Cole's journey from a hardworking student at St. John's University who released a string of classic mixtapes to becoming a Roc Nation signee and a highly respected MC in his own right is well documented. But it's important to remember that throughout his career, Cole has always emphasized that he never wanted to just be on the field, but that he specifically aimed to be a star player in the game. In fact, long before he was even considered in that conversation, he was always driven by the desire to be seen as the GOAT.
Some people want to be great and be the greatest, so their mind state is different. Some people just want to make the league. That's the highest they can see. I just always was seeing past that, so when I got a record deal, everybody was like, oh my God, you signed to Jay-Z. I'm like, I'm looking at that bank account, and more than that, I'm looking at what I haven't done. And I'm like, I'm barely celebrating this. You know what I mean? So I think it's just like,
I feel that.
Sustainability comes from like looking ahead and being very clear on what you want. Do you want to make the league, or do you want to be one of the GOATs? You know what I mean? That's a different type of mentality, I think.
It's no
true.
secret that Cole achieved a lot throughout his lengthy career, and it's thanks to none other than that winner mentality. He went platinum with no features so many times that it became a meme at one point, launched his own Dreamville label successfully, and even brought the entire hip-hop community together for the Revenge of the Dreamers 3 project. Besides that, he was praised for being above the industry politics or negative traits that are usually associated with the genre, with fans saying things like, J. Cole is worth $117 million. He rides around on a bike with no guns and no security and no one bothers him. He's not stunting, not flossing, he's not messing with other guys' girlfriends. He's not kicking guys who are less fortunate. He's humble. Gracious enough to seem like he was accepting third place on tracks like Heaven's EP, where he said Drake and Kendrick were still superstars to him.
Some people say that I'm running third, they threw the bronze at me. Behind Drake and Dot, yeah, them niggas is superstars to me.
Cole seemed content to follow his own path in hip-hop and favored relationships with his fellow rappers over asserting himself as the best.
Like, nobody can really relate to that like these dudes, and I really genuinely fuck with these dudes. So like, I've been trying to, absolutely make an effort, like strip the competition from it. Like, y'all niggas are cemented forever. I will hope that I'm cemented forever, and if not, I will be, when it's all said and done. Like, the competition part, I've stripped away, and I'm now on some shit like, man, I'm more interested in the relationship, because I also see a time when I'm not doing it. 100% of people are never gonna say J. Cole is the best rapper breathing. You won't get 90% to say Drake, you won't get 90% to say Kendrick. It's just never gonna happen. It comes with age to realize that, like, yo, what are you even worried about? I approach my bars from that perspective, but the reality of me knows that's unattainable.
When you look back at that comment, it's crazy to see how a small mistake changed everything about how people saw Cole just a few years later. But we'll be talking about that more in the second half of this video. Initially, it was Cole's level-headed approach to hip-hop that won over fans and even fellow artists, as they felt like he truly upheld what the hip-hop genre was all about.
I feel J. Cole should have walked some Grammys. The fact that he did a whole album, no features, he really did what Nas did on his first record. I can remember people like likening Nas to Rakim again. They were saying that the standard was met again and exceeded. I think that J. Cole met a certain standard by doing that.
He did. I've talked about this with the Grammys before, of how they rob artists of giving them the Grammys. And just be and I still would even say it is being Grammy nominated is big by itself. But the fact of like Cole's never got one is still kind of like, yo, for come on. You can't discredit him. One thing it is that like you have to be honest here and to say it is that J. Cole is more than deserving of getting these Grammys. He is. He got snubbed just like how a lot of other artists has gotten snubbed. Beyonce has gotten snubbed plenty of times, but has that ever really stopped her from continuing to keep moving forward? No, not really. Album of the year twice in a row being snubbed is just outstanding to me. But or outlandish, I should say outlandish. But I do believe that the Grammys it has a history of doing that to artists, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Nicki got snubbed 10 times and still was out there. Bro, they played in Nicki's face this year. And I may not be a Nicki stan, but I am going to say it is that y'all cheated and robbed this girl in her face. If y'all want to talk about bullying, what y'all did to her was bullying. Y'all even put that up onto the Grammy website. It was Barbie's World was the winner of that category. To then change it and to say this, oh, sorry, we didn't mean it for you. We meant it for somebody else. That is insane. I would never want to go to any Grammy viewing ever again if that was the case. Like some of these award shows like to embarrass people, but what y'all did to Nicki was terrible this year. That was not deserving.
I think that he brought attention away from the hype of who are the features, the hype of who are the producers, and he put the hype firmly on the meat of the records. I think that J. Cole has did something bigger than a Grammy. He has given a cultural expectation to a group of kids who didn't have that marker before. I think that he has redirected the hype of who can I collab with and how could I grow myself. And I'm very proud of that brother for that.
Over time, Cole would increasingly acquire more flowers as he settled into his role as one of hip-hop's most respected artists, including other members of the Big Three.
I gotta say this just because, you know, I don't always want to have like a heartfelt moment when we're on stage together and shit, but you know, you did that pipe down freestyle the other day, right? You were saying in the freestyle about, you know, they handed you the bronze and whatever, me and Kendrick. I just want you to understand something. You are genuinely, without a doubt, one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a mic in his lifetime. And I want to let you know, it's way too many people in the world that think and know that J. Cole is at top on the pole position. I love you with all my heart. You're my brother, one of my favorite artists, and I always appreciate you.
But
I hear this and then I can just keep thinking about what Kendrick said and the kissing and hugging on stage, you know? And maybe that's just me.
What is notable is that while J. Cole spoke openly about his desire to put aside the need to dominate the game or surpass the achievements of his fellow rappers, he also created a contradiction when it came time to actually spit on a track. From claiming that he was the hardest on his famous LA Leakers freestyle,
You want to shoot, then shoot, don't play with me. Hardest shit out the South since slavery, nigga.
to increasingly claiming if rappers wanted smoke, then he's a whole fucking nicotine company on projects like The Off Season. To say that Cole has been feeling himself since the turn of the decade is an understatement. Deviating from the messages he gave out in the interview, Cole not only wanted to take on the world himself, but instilled a mentality in his Dreamville signees that they could compete head to head with the biggest cliques in the world.
We just really competing with TDE. This is a whole nother thing. We competing with TDE. That's what needs to be known. Dreamville, we gotta step this shit the fuck up. Them niggas is fire. We gotta step it up.
Claiming that he could cook any rapper that was sent his way, Cole invited an attack for years until he got one. Because soon, it was one of these bravado-fueled bars that would bring Cole's career to a dangerous crossroad.
Love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K-Dot, is it Aubrey or me? We the big three like we started a league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali.
On First Person Shooter, Cole delivered a backhanded compliment at both Drake and Kendrick. While claiming they were the biggest artists in the game, pinpointing that he is the Muhammad Ali would imply that he is truly the greatest in this field. At the time that he delivered these bars, it fit in with the image we had of Cole, as for years now, he had nurtured this perception that he'd willingly shred any rapper to the point that veterans like Royce the 5'9" and Joe Budden were claiming that he was the only one who upheld that spirit in today's industry.
It looks like J. Cole is the only one being competitive. He's the only one who's rapping with the kind of conviction that says, you know, like, I still value the #1 spot as a lyricist.
I got Cole as my one. I'm hoping that Kendrick's next album could try to fix that for me. Drake is doing his Chuck E. Cheese shit. Good for him.
Different battle.
That's it.
Damn.
Yeah, that's it.
This belief was shared widely across the game, and legends like Busta Rhymes thought that Cole wouldn't hesitate to go all out if a beef ever started.
I think a lot of light is being shined on Cole right now because he's displaying himself in that way, because he's being real active with features, from the Lil Yachty to the Drake to 21 Savage. Like, he's moving and shaking in that space with grace, and he's making sure you understand that he ain't got no problem with chopping your head off too.
With fans leaving comments like, I've been saying Jermaine Cole seems to be the only rapper that took Kendrick Lamar's Control verse seriously, and J. Cole is the best rapper alive and it's not up for debate, it's clear that Busta, Royce, and Joe were onto something. But the problem with all these remarks from rappers and fans is that now Cole has made them feel like they were deceived all along. Because, as you probably know by now, Cole's world changed for the worse with one bar from Kendrick Lamar on the song Like That, where he said, "Motherfuck the big three, it's just big me." Faced with Kendrick throwing that kind of gauntlet down to both him and Drizzy, Cole was in a difficult position. After all those bars about how he wanted smoke, the Dreamville CEO knew that he was expected to respond, even if it was clear that he felt no animosity towards Dot, a man who he'd known since way back in 2011. Like much of what Cole has said over the years, he basically foretold the issues he faced when it came to the whole world expecting a response from him. And as he told Lil Yachty, feeling the pressure from the hip-hop community, critics, or social media can make you act in ways that aren't true to yourself.
The conversation can be toxic. If you're not protective of your energy, you can get wrapped up in that shit and then be affected mentally. You know what I mean? You can be hurt, you can be distraught, you can be depressed. It can cause you if you're not protecting your energy to move in a certain way. But
crazily, he also acknowledged that he knew this was just part of the game and that it didn't govern his decision making.
Imagine a music industry where nobody cared to talk about it. And nobody cared to come up with a narrative. Although it sucks when the narrative is trash and it's toxic and it might be whack or it might be personal. Like the incident you talking about where it might feel a little personal. It's like, yo, bro, this is what we signed up for.
But no matter how much wisdom he could give out to Lil Bo, when he was removed from the heat of that situation, it was clearly too much for him to handle when the whole world was waiting for him to respond to K-Dot's Like That verse. And with that, 7 Minute Drill was born. But it did not do the damage he was expecting it to do. A track that took aim at Dot's catalog and suggested he was ready to go to war with Kendrick if he had to. The track was one of the biggest talking points off his mixtape Might Delete Later. But the only problem was that it seemed like his heart wasn't in it, and yet people knew that this was what hip-hop demanded of him.
This is a weak diss. Clearly, J. Cole did not want to do this, and yet he did it anyway. I mean, I sort of get it. The hip-hop fandom is toxic in such a way that if J. Cole did kind of come out and was serious and was real about how he actually felt about this and was just like, I don't want to do this, guys. I think it's kind of lame. Like, that would be valid. That would be so fucking down to earth and honestly just reality. But if J. Cole did that, if he actually said that in response, all the fans would clown him and just be like, oh, you're lame, you fucking pussy, which honestly sucks. While this response does kind of blow, it's not really a shot against J. Cole's artistry or credibility, because I think what the problem ultimately is here is that his heart really wasn't into a response like that.
It wasn't. That's the thing. It put Cole in a situation of, well, I'm gonna be damned if I do or damned if I don't, regardless. And as much as it is now, looking back at this, I wish that he did take that approach of just being like, listen, K-Dot's my dude. We go way back. I don't have no real beef with him. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna just slide out this way. I wish it is that he took that response, because to put out this diss track, then to delete it, apologize 2 days later, you know what I mean? It was alleged that Schoolboy Q was the one who reached out to him and told him, don't go toe to toe with this. This ain't what you want to do. You know, this was alleged. I have to say alleged. But even if he did, shout outs to him, because that's a solid person right there. That's a friend right there to tell you, hey, listen, I don't think you should be able to do this. I think that you pull back from this before this gets way worse than what it needs to be, But at least for me, I would still respect J. Cole. I still do have respect for J. Cole. It's just it makes him look a little. It made him look a little weak at the point, and when this happened. But then when we seen what Kendrick came out with again and again and again, is when we're just like, you know what? That's when people was apologizing to or apologizing to Cole to say, okay, now I get it. I understand. My fault. This, and this. But I think he should have just stuck with the point of just not saying anything, not feeding into it. Because sometimes it is having people on your team, your friends, and then you have social media that is all egging you on to do something. It is that you don't have the heart to do it. It's it's not fun. It's not fun when you have that, and you have that level of instigation, those social pressures of, oh, you got to like me personally. I would never let Kendrick Lamar talk to me like that. Stuff like that. It was probably being said to him, and then it's like, all right, well, now I can't go out like a bitch. So you had to say something, and I hate that for him. I really do. I really do hate that for him.
This. And again, even if this track is mid, which it very much is, I can sympathize with that.
Although not everyone is on board with Fantano's perspective, I personally think that he was right, and Cole really wanted no part of releasing that track. As a result, he took to the stage at the Dreamville Festival and not only admitted that all of the outside chatter had gotten to him, but also that he would be removing the song from streaming services.
So I'm so proud of that project, except for one part. It's one part of that shit that make me feel like, man, that's the lamest shit I ever did in my fucking life, right? And I know this is not what a lot of people want to hear. I know I can hear my niggas up there right now like, nah, don't do that. But I gotta keep it 100 with y'all. Y'all heard some shit that happened 3 weeks ago, however long it was. Y'all heard that bazooka that was dropped on the motherfucking game, right? All of this time of me moving on my own accord, for the first time I was tested. Why am I tested? Because I got the world and I got my niggas like, what you gonna do, Cole? And I was conflicted because, one, I know my heart, you know what I mean? And like, I know how I feel about my peers, these two niggas that I just been blessed to even stand beside in this game, let alone chase their greatness, right? So I felt conflicted because I'm like, bro, I know I don't really feel no way, but the world want to see blood. In my spirit of trying to like get this music out, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I moved in a way that I feel spiritually feel bad on me. Like I try to like jab my nigga back and I try to keep it friendly, but at the end of the day, when I listen to it and when it comes out and I see the talk, that shit don't sit right with my spirit. That shit make me feel, that shit disrupts my fucking peace.
Although he might have not known it at the time, J. Cole's world would never be the same again after this moment, as suddenly, the rapper who came up on sheer lyricism and upholding the traditions of the game had just violated one of the biggest rules of the genre. And that's that he kept opening the floodgates for both rappers and fans to pile on in a way that, in all honesty, he might not fully recover from. In the interest of fairness, let me clear that not everyone thinks what Cole did at the Dreamville Festival was a complete misstep. Instead, they think it was just a mission to rescue his sanity. Cole's the guy who recognizes the party is going to end in gunshots. He left at the right time. Cole's sleeping really well. As for people like Charlamagne and T.I., they praise Cole for exhibiting a level of maturity that we're not used to seeing and remaining true to himself.
What did you feel when Cole said, I'm not being a part of this?
Man, I feel he chose peace and tranquility.
Yeah, man.
You gotta have thick skin. You gotta really be unfazed and unbothered.
It takes a real human to check himself and say, man, what I'm doing, I don't even believe in. I don't believe what I said. I don't even believe in what I did. Apologize and keep it moving. Y'all want a man to attack a man for your entertainment because we are a culture that feeds off conflict. We just have to have some conflict to feast on. We like to see people at war with each other because so many of us are at war with ourselves. It's really that simple. Salute to Cole for breaking the cycle, especially if he simply doesn't want to. Okay, good for you, Cole, for not succumbing to the peer pressure of your homeboys, other artists, social media, whatever it is. Okay,
but
I agree with that statement. I really do. I really do. You know, it's not, I've said this before, when it comes down to like hip hop beefs, normally hip hop beefs bleeds into some street shit. And somebody it is, an East Coast girl who have seen how street stuff it gets. Unfortunately, there was somebody that passed away due to beefs. And I was rapping about it and stuff like that over this past weekend. That is real life. That is somebody's entire, you know, person, brother, son. You feel me? That has just been lost because of that. And this is why I said that if you do not have the heart for this to go toe to toe like that, which I don't advocate for in any form of way, don't keep yourself in it. Fuck what everybody else is trying to say. If they say it is like, oh well, he's pussy for you going ahead and apologize and stuff like that. Sometimes you need to know when to walk away from certain situations, regardless to how that's gonna make you look at the end of the day. Sometimes it's best to just keep your sanity. You know what I'm saying? Have a peace of mind to be able to just go ahead and just have a home to go to, someone to look forward to seeing you coming home, and be able to sleep. Y'all don't understand how like that within itself, not being able to sleep at night is terrible. It is extremely terrible. So at first I was hard on J. Cole too, because I'm just like, oh, you should never put out the project and then apologize, this, and this. But now it all makes sense at the end of the day. It really does. I'm not gonna look at him differently for what it is that he did. The project, like, me personally, I would have told you this, don't put it out, if that was the case. Just stay quiet about it at Dreamville. Then if you want to have a conversation and then talk about it, be like, hey, listen, I don't want to get too involved with this because K-Dot, my nigga, this, and this, blah, blah, blah. It would have made sense to me, but I'm not knocking what J. Cole did. I just wish it is that there are other people that are within conflict within themselves to just kind of take those moments of being the bigger person for yourself at the end of the day, instead of trying to see other people it is that you don't really know to go toe to toe with something it is that they don't have the heart for entertainment. You know what I mean? Take those levels of steps within yourself at the end of the day.
The only problem that a lot of people are having is that if Cole is all about being authentic and sticking to his values and beliefs, then it invalidates a whole lot of his bars in recent years. Plus, even those who see it as a wise move still can't fathom how much of it goes against how you're supposed to conduct yourself in hip-hop. Because while people like Charlemagne might have a point about the grown man mindset of J. Cole, that isn't an opinion that's held by most of the culture that Cole has strived to keep alive for so many years. And as Mick Jenkins put it, you can't be saying that nobody can fuck with you, and then when the only rapper they compare you to ends up challenging you, you can't expect for everyone to just accept your reasoning for bowing out. Because of his actions, you now have people looking at Cole in a whole new light. In some cases,
the thing is that you don't have to have people accept your reasoning to why it is that you backed out of a certain situation. You have to be okay with the decision it is you make at the end of the day. You cannot speak for anybody else. Nobody else could able to go ahead and make that bed other than you. So I think that's something it is that we need to work on with even ourselves, because whatever it is that we do today is going to push ourselves or break ourselves to our future tomorrow. And to not have tomorrow promise is another reason why it is that I say, hey, you may want to check that at the end of the day. It's not meant for everybody else to be on board or to understand or whatever the case is. It's meant for just you. And that's all that matters.
With complete disregard. Meanwhile, for many of the veterans and commentators in the industry who would have previously given Cole his flowers whenever the opportunity arose, the whole thing seemed to not meet their perception of who he was as an MC. Because from everything we had seen in recent years, it looked like he would rather go down swinging than just throw in the towel. Courtesy of the confusion he caused, Cole had 50 Cent demanding that he call his phone to discuss the apology, while others like Dame Dash just seemed at a loss to understand it.
As a fan, I'm disappointed. And no disrespect to J. Cole, it seemed like he threw up the white flag. Personally, I wouldn't have gave 7 minutes, pause. I didn't even hear the whole shit. And it seemed like it bugged him so much that he gave him 7 minutes. But it wasn't a vicious 7 minutes. Like, I don't want to hear the Simpsons and all that in that rap. In that moment, him apologizing, to me, was saying, yo, you won, you the best, like, I can't fuck with you. That's how I saw it. I'm not mad at him. I think it's great he could take the high road, but what high road? They were fucking bad.
Dame Dash comes from an older generation, so I can understand why he feels that way. He wouldn't necessarily do that himself. I get that. I'm not disparaging Dame Dash whatsoever, but I get where he's coming from. Do I agree with it? Yes and no. Yes and no.
Dame Dash wanted to see more from Cole. Even that was a moderate response. As for people like academics, the whole thing was a masterclass in embarrassing yourself.
Yo, whose goat is this, man? You know, if you're a Cole fan, I don't care, man. I need one of y'all industry niggas to come up here and debate me, man. What type of beta male bullshit, weak nigga shit is this? How you riding the song he dissed you on? You're apologizing for your song and riding his song. It's like you in the club, a nigga slap you, you punch him, and now later you say, man, yo, I'm sorry for even punching you, but I ain't gonna lie, that slap that you slapped me with, that shit was crazy, right? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I felt that. What the fuck? What the hell's going on?
Academics, I don't want to hear nothing from you because you was just sitting there crying and all that stuff while watching Kendrick and Ken and Friends at the pop-up shop, and you was sitting there bopping your head to the music. And then you want to sit there and glaze this man, Drake. Talking about something. I listen to Drake every day. You are a grown man. Like, you're 36. Talking about something that you listen to a grown man. You listen to, like, bro, I get it is if you a fan of somebody, but let's be for real here. Be for real. You can't sit there and talk about J. Cole fans and the GOATs and stuff like that when you literally have not removed yourself from this proclaimed GOAT it is that you talk about. You, bro, it's sickening that it is that you do that. You wanted to hate on Ken and Friends pop-up shop so badly on stream, and then you was sitting there in disbelief to how it is, how historical that was, how legendary that was. You had all different types of gang members that you wouldn't necessarily see on stage together, dancing, all sea walking, all that stuff. Kendrick Lamar just shot the whole video for Not Like Us out in Compton and had these same niggas out there. There was no shooting, there was no gang banging, there was people there having fun, they kids was out there, they was cutting up, they was having a great old time. So I don't want to hear nothing from this man. This man has nothing. There's nothing it is that this man can able to tell me it is that's credible at this point. Ain't this the same nigga that said, what's the top 5 you smoking? Drake, and then exactly. A glazer. It's just.
Although Axe comments are riddled with classic toxic masculinity, which suggests that the only option after being attacked is all-out war, the unfortunate truth for Cole is that he of all people should have known that this is the engine that hip-hop runs on. From the start, the rap game has been all about proving yourself against the competition and claiming the top spot. So for some, the whole thing couldn't have backfired any harder in terms of what it does to Cole's reputation.
This is totally unacceptable. And I told y'all dudes that when these niggas get out there on stage frolicking, acting like they bestest of buddies. These niggas get on these stages and say anything. There's way too many clips going around of him saying that same speech to Drake about him being the greatest that he says to Kendrick about him being the greatest. Where do you truly stand? I don't want to hear no more about that record. I don't want to talk about it. He didn't mean it. It sounded like he didn't mean it. His voice was trembling like he didn't mean it. His choice of words as one of the greatest lyricists says he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. I don't want to hear about that shit no more. Because oddly enough, what you did now is make the Like That record sound harder again for another fucking week.
As time went on, J. Cole took a backseat as the rivalry between Kendrick and Drake heated up. And to be honest, many thought this was the right move, as their beef became so intense that each new release was defined by harsh truths and wild speculation. Cole would eventually just retreat into his own world and stay very far from all of the drama. And for a moment, some fans wondered if he deserved an apology for the internet's outrage over how he left the beef, with many speculating that he might have known how things were going to turn out for Drake. While Cole's decision to step out of the ring is being seen in a
somebody had to. I don't know if it was Schoolboy Q. I don't know if it was Jay-Z. I don't know who it was, but I commend you. Sometimes it is you need that person to be like, hey, no, I'm gonna bring you back. Nope. What's about to happen here is gonna be deep. It's gonna be deeper than this. It's bigger than you at this rate. Go on home. You got a kid, you got your girl, go see them. So sometimes is you need somebody to yank you by your collar and say, no, absolutely not. And just go live to see another day, find something safe to do. That's the best type of advice it is that anybody can able to give you. It's just rerouting somebody who about to put themselves in a situation that they ain't have no business being in, or there's no way for them to get out. Sometimes you need that.
A different light after how insanely personal things got between Dot and Drake, this doesn't solve the next problem Cole had created for himself. After retreating like that, Cole had to come out swinging when we next heard from him and remind us why he's such a beloved MC, but instead we got this. After a month of silence, Cole returned to the game with his feature on Cash Cobain's song entitled Grippy. And it's fair to say that this was as far from a chess move as it gets. Following what had already been a hard time to be a coal miner, his fans were left at a loss for words over how they were meant to defend him now. And honestly, nothing puts it better than this reaction by No Life Shaq.
We finna check this out, man. People telling me this is the first song J. Cole made ever since the beef. J. Cole fans been fighting for their life for 2 months. Here we go, man. We finna check this out.
Grippy, I call her that cause it's grippy. She thinking the hip, she a hippie. And she thinking the lip, she gon' lick me.
Ain't no way this nigga just said, she thick in the hips, she hippie. Ain't no way J. Cole said the bar that simple. There's no way.
Believe it or not, like Ripley's. She said she was gay until I slayed. Now she's strictly diggly. As soon as she plays, I'm on the way. And I be showing the...
Yeah, we doomed. But J. Cole fan, we cooked. Ain't no way this nigga said strictly dickly. I can't take this, y'all. This nigga J. Cole said strictly dickly. I cannot get over that. He said, I'ma take him to Disney. I'ma pay enough money so they can meet Mickey. What is the world coming to?
On that verse, Cole regressed back to the kind of rhymes that he might have dropped for commercial purposes during his early career. Except, rather than letting Nas down like he did earlier in his career, it seemed like it was the entire hip-hop audience that had been riding for him even after he had damaged his own reputation. I don't understand why Cole thought that Grippy song was a good idea. He dropped Might Delete later, then showed us should've deleted immediately. Left at a loss for words, some fans have even begun theorizing that everything he's done recently is part of an elaborate ploy to promote his upcoming album. But for the most part, people are struggling to get behind the concept that this is some kind of method acting rather than a great rapper making a series of horrendous decisions. With some fans going as far as to claim that Cole is the only one who damaged his own career with this song, it's safe to say that the admiration he received from the hip hop community has taken a major hit from 7-minute drill onwards. Working within a culture that has a short attention span and even shorter memory, J. Cole now finds himself navigating a tightrope that he has only seen from a distance before. Ever since he came out, Cole has controlled his own narrative, and that's because he always did what was right for him. When the whole platinum, no features thing became a meme, he refused to let it bother him. When people called him Jay Snore, he proved why he was entertaining as any other MC on the mic. Now,
I never heard that. I never heard that. I never heard somebody say Jay Snore. That's disrespectful as
for the first time, the narrative has gotten away from him because he's truly taken what the culture seen as an L. A man trying to turn the other cheek in a culture that thrives on combat, Cole is now at the mercy of the people until he can claw himself back up to the level of respect he once had. Because as they say, history is written by the victors. And at the moment, there's no way that's not how the world sees Cole.
Dang, well,
and it throws them to the.
That actually sucks. Again, I still rock with J. Cole. I don't have no issues with it. Even though the Grippy song was funny. It made me laugh, but yeah, I get it. But Luisa, shout outs to you, gang. Thank you so much for the video. Shout outs to y'all in the chat, and shout outs to you at home. I will catch y'all in the next video.